Howdy, folks. Back to another episode of the old Genesis Project. I'm Cole Campbell, and today we're going to be talking about how to fix money. And this is going to be a multi-part series, it looks like. So, as we talked about yesterday, all the money flows to the central banks at the top through interest. So, your money is printed as debt. The bank only prints the principal, the initial amount of money. They don't print the money that covers the interest over time. So then when they come to collect on their loan, there's only a small portion of the money that can actually be paid back to them. The rest of it doesn't exist. We can't counterfeit it. We can't make more. So they say, oh, you can't pay your interest. Well, here, we'll just take your house, your business, your whatever. So what this does is these private corporations, they print the money and they get real assets. I don't like this. I'm not going to blame them. You know, they're just doing something, but it's not something I like. So I'm going to opt out, and I'm going to show you how. A lot of people point the finger incorrectly away from the central banks. You see this young man here with the communist symbol on his shirt who's figured out a lot, smart guy. But for a lot of reasons, people don't point the finger at the central banks. And it seems like why is because they own the media. And people say, well, CNN, well, the media, and they need to make advertising dollars. And it's like, yeah, no, fair point. But these guys make so much more money on interest. They would rather nuke the media and nuke their advertising dollars because they make so much more money on interest. When you start to put it together, you're like, oh, it all starts to click. So, solution's real simple. Stop using fiat money. That means any money printed by a central bank with very few exceptions. So, Canadian dollars, US dollars, pounds, euros, you name it. They're all printed by private banks. The money all goes to places that are kind of shifty. And even if you don't have any debt, it's tainted because someone somewhere took out debt to print that money, that cash in your hand or the money in your bank account on your debit card. It was all created as debt. So if you keep using it, eventually the people in the aggregate are going to get poorer. It's just how it works. You can't use cash and think that that's not tied to debt. It's just not how it works, not how the math works. So we need an alternative to centralized currency. What do all these guys have in common? Well, they all went up against the central banks. And if you look at them, either, at least half of them have been shot, and a bunch of them have been demonized by the media, like absolutely hated, loathed. And it goes back to, what's more important, keeping central bank monopolies in place or keeping those advertising dollars rolling? And you can see a lot of these guys recently, especially, have been hated in the media. And they all wanted to create sovereign wealth for their country. So keep that in mind thinking about the next slides. Sovereign wealth means real assets, such as metals, such as decentralized currency, often known as crypto. Crypto is an example of a decentralized currency. Or public-owned currency. So people think the government owns the currency. They don't. And if they did, there's pros and cons to that, and we'll go over those tomorrow. But there are tons of options out there besides fiat currency. What makes good currency? It has to have a stable quantity. Governments have printed double the money over the last 2 years, and so all of our money's worth half, and people are in tons of debt now because all that money was given out as debt. Now the interest rates are raising, people can't pay their loans, and people are just going to lose their shirts. They're going to lose their houses, their cars, their ability to feed their families is going to suck, and it's horrifying. Good currency can't be counterfeited. It should be transparent, should be, and this one's kind of contentious. The crypto people think you should be able to see where it goes. Some people like privacy. That's a nuance. And it should be easy and cheap to transact. What you see on the screen there are tally sticks. They're kind of cool. They're kind of the original crypto. The British government back in the day would scrape lines in these sticks. They'd carve them and then snap them in half. So it was like this really weird, unique stick with weird scrapes in it. Really hard to duplicate, and they use them as individual pieces of currency. So really cool, and we'll dig into more of that tomorrow. Thanks, guys. I'm excited for the next episode.